There was something about the medium of painting and how intimate it is. And I used to paint my home all the time and then stopped. It just became too sad. And now I'm using it as a way to process the feelings of grief that I have of the genocide. I grew up in Japan. I grew up there for 15 years, and I moved back to the US in 2012. I'd say I'm a Lebanese artist. I'm very proud of where I'm from. It shaped me in every which way. It's just part of who I am. Everything in my life is like intertwined with my art. All my clothes, my bags, my room, my house, my friends, everything has to do with art in one way or another. So saying I'm an artist means also just like my life is art. So the genocide began on the 7th of October, and there was an onslaught of images, just horrifying images. Grief stricken by, so shocked, so horrified. I'm not the only one who felt that way, and the world was shook. And I could not figure out what to do with myself. I could not figure out what to do with the pain. I felt powerless. I felt hopeless. My partner at the time was Palestinian. And so watching this with him was really a lot. And seeing this image of this woman holding her child in a body bag, I don't know where it came from, but at the bottom of my heart, I knew I had to do something. And the only thing I could do for myself and for her was to sit with her. And the only thing I knew I could do to sit with her was to paint every stroke.
This was really tricky to not get it looking like it's a face mask. Every so often it looks like this is the face being covered, but it's actually the top of her head, and her head's being put down into her arms. The background was secondary, you know, really I gave no attention to it. I really wanted her to be the focal point, so that's where I started.
When I finished painting it and I posted it, I got so much attention, like people connected so much to it, and I felt so connected to her, and from then it unlocked something.
I was really intimidated by this one, so intimidated by this painting, because I did not know if I was going to actually capture what I wanted to capture, if I was going to even do the horse's justice or the human's justice, any of the anatomical aspects of it, and I did.
Nobody saw the Palestinian man as human. I wanted to really bring attention to the love and strength of the Palestinian man. And I was looking through some images to give me some inspiration, and I saw this image of these two men holding hands, riding happily, expressing their joy, holding on to each other. This joy and expression of freedom and love. That's what that was about. And then it led into all this other stuff. So that's why I talk about those two primarily, because those were the catalysts of the series.
I remember I was painting this outside and someone was like, "Oh my gosh, is that Snoop Dogg?" And I'm like, "Yep, Palestinian Snoop Dogg. This is sure, man." The face, the pattern of the keffiyeh, the response of people was incredible. They were feeling it. They were loving it. My dad loved it. And I'm like, "Damn." And he's like, "Yeah, he looks badass." And I'm like, "I'm so glad you think he looks badass. I'm glad he makes you feel badass," because that's clearly what's coming up.
The imagery on it are representative of different things. So olive branches and fishnets, and it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of cloth. Hanging on to stolen childhood. These kids are having fun playing on electricity wires. All this horror is happening around them, and they've witnessed so much death. And just to be able to paint something where you look into the eyes of this little girl and they're shining bright, and there's so much life in there. It's also capturing the work that the photojournalists are doing to be able to bring the truth in these moments. I wouldn't have known that these kids were finding fun in hanging on electricity wires if the photographer didn't take this picture. I wouldn't have painted any of these if the photographers weren't there. And it's just like an homage also to the people on the ground doing that work, because the Western media isn't capturing what's really happening. People on the ground are capturing what's really happening. The only way I know anything that's happening in the genocide is by following individuals.
Bilal Khalid is the photographer of this. He's captured a lot of moments in Palestine right now, in Gaza. I flipped the painting upside down and the picture upside down to make sure that I was getting all her features right. And as you noted, there are little specks of red, which are in the image, on her feet as well. They are blood. This isn't just a regular kid having a good time, this is a Gazan Palestinian child escaping war and genocide.
I am an active duty member of the United States Air Force, and I will no longer be complicit in genocide. I'm about to engage in an extreme act of protest, but compared to what people have been experiencing in Palestine at the hands of their colonizers,
it's not
extreme
extreme at all.
Can I help you, sir?
Free Palestine!
Hey!
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Man's on fire! Man's on fire!
Ah! 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 Free Palestine! Ah!
Rest in power, because he went out with a bang. He caused a ruckus. There was no peace after. And to see a man in that uniform stand up fearlessly, clearly, and confidently, I have so much respect for him. A white American man just set himself on fire for us. An American military man. I'd never seen that in my life. I never thought I would in my life. I always thought that they would kill us and not, stand up for us. So when he did that, and he did it with such strength and conviction, it was sad we lost such a strong soul, but I really thank him so much for being such a strong voice for us and not being us. It's usually we see Arabs and Palestinians speak up for ourselves all the time, and seeing someone who isn't us do it is incredible. It would take the U.S. halting funds to Israel. It would take the U.S. halting its support, because without that backbone, Israel's kind of left alone there. Getting rid of any Western influence in the Middle East, that includes Israel, would allow us to actually be able to grow and be prosper without people meddling and try to steal our resources and land and kill our people and use our labor for their own profits. It sickens me that someone would come and disrespect a land so much and then claim it as their own. They don't deserve it.